Hello, 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 and happy Friday. I am excited to be here today with Danielle Cooper. Danielle is the founder of the Edge Up Coaching. She is a mind body coach for women, drawing from her background in fitness, education, and yoga. And her own journey through grief, anxiety, and motherhood, she helps women build strength from the inside out through sustainable movement, mindset work, and the daily habits that support real life. Danielle, I'm so excited to have this conversation.
I'm so excited to be here, Francine. Thanks for having me.
You and I have been having this conversation. We just haven't recorded it. So we were like, all right, we got to record this because we have so much to talk about here. And we're also going to talk about that Danielle and I are hosting an in-person event in starting in June 16th. It's going to be in Reading, Massachusetts. It is called Yoga Through the Chakras, Align Your Body, Energy, and Action. And this is a 5-week series that is going to blend chakra teachings, guided meditation, and modified gentle yoga to really help the people that show up understand where stress and emotional tension are held in your body. Each session, we're going to focus on either one or two chakras because it's only 5 weeks. There's seven chakras. And we're going to explore how energy blocks really affect both our physical and emotional well-being. And we're going to dive right in because you and I have been having this conversation because nobody lives this more than I do. Because my body has been yelling at me for years and I finally started paying attention to it. I have, one of the things I've uncovered is like I've lived in this state of bracing. So if you think your whole body is just bracing, 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 waiting, 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 what's next, what's next, what's next, the effect that that has on your joints, on your muscles, on everything. And, people who have been listening know that I've had a hip replaced, a knee replaced, multiple knee surgeries. I broke my elbow a few months ago. Like I have been living it because I lived it for so long and now it's catching up in my body.
Right.
So, share your journey and what led you to the Edge Up coaching because the goal for both of us is to get women before they have to have everything replaced.
Yeah, that honestly has been a goal for me. Everyone in my family has had every joint replaced, and I just made it my mission.
I
I am
am
going to go
not
as far as I
having.
can without having that. I really don't want, and I didn't realize how important mobility was. So that's
Yeah.
I kind of started with that, but I I've always been involved. As in my 20s, when my children were young, I was a fitness instructor and personal trainer, and then went into education and became a phys ed teacher later on. But I think the the reason I that this is so important to me is my aunt was diagnosed with lung cancer out of the blue. Out of all my mom's sisters, she was probably the healthiest. She had smoked when she was younger, and of course, had some addiction issues in her younger years, but had been healthy and taking good care of herself for 30 plus years. And was diagnosed, and 7 weeks later passed away. And
Wow.
her doctor actually said, her oncologist said to her, this isn't like, you've been healthy for a long time. This isn't, has nothing to do with the smoking and that kind of thing. It has more to do with the stress in your life. And
Mm.
you've lived in this like high intensity, stressful life for the last 20 years. And that people don't realize what kind of toll that takes on their body. And right now, so many young women are being diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's scary. And I think the reason being is that we're in this, and you talk about this all the time, that busyness. It's like
Yep.
we're rewarding women for overachieving all the time instead of just, allowing them to really take time for themselves and their body and be with their family in calm, stress-free ways. I don't think anyone knows how to do that anymore.
Are you familiar with the Louise Hay book, You Can Heal Your Life? I mean,
Yes.
that's one of my favorite. I one time went through it and like went through every ailment I have, and they were all connected to something emotional that was going on with me,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
it really is true. I mean, our bodies our external issues are a reflection of what's happening on the inside.
Right. And when
Yeah.
you don't deal with the things going on in the inside, they manifest in ailments in your body. They're either showing up as, addiction, anxiety, depression. I mean, if you're not getting to the root cause, you can do all the things. I think that was the thing for me. You can do all the things on the outside, but if you are not getting to the root cause of your issue, it's going to manifest no
Well,
matter
look at people who like eat healthy, work out 7 days a week, but really they're just running from something that they're not dealing. They look great,
what.
got it all together,
Yep.
but they're not dealing with the thing that is really what's going on.
Right. Well, people forget that exercise and all of that can become an addiction
Oh,
as it
100%.
can be an addictive behavior.
Right.
Everything needs to be done in modification,
Right.
and just doing something every day. I think people forget the key to health is doing something every day. Move your body every single day. It doesn't have to be a structured in the gym workout. Go outside, take a walk,
Well, and
you
I
know.
will say, one of the things I've learned in this healing of this third surgery I've now had on my knee is um, my doctor told me in the beginning I was too young to have the replacement. So what happened was I became less and less active
Mhm.
because it hurt. It just friggin'
Right.
hurt, right?
Yep.
So I became less and less active. And now what's happening in my healing is I literally have no hamstring and no quad strength. So when I bend my knee or when the physical therapist bends the knee, I can't even hold the bend on my own because I have no muscle strength because I
Right.
was doing less and less. So now, I'm doing my PT exercises and I'm going for a walk. And most days it's only 15 or 20 minutes because that's the extent of what I can do. But it's 15 minutes,
Yep.
right?
But
And
it's not just 15 minutes. Like people don't understand if you did 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night,
yep,
like you're good. Like
right.
I think we
It doesn't have
discount
to be
these
the gym
little
for 90 minutes. Yeah.
right, right. It does
Yeah.
not need to
No.
be
And
that.
what would you say to women? Because I know you work a lot with young mothers too, right? Because they're who you were back when you were when this was really important to you, when it started being really important to you. What would you say to them? Because, I know so many mothers that will say, that they're sick. My sister is great for this. Like when the kids were young, she would have something going on with her. I'd be like, go to there. I don't have time. Well, if you don't, what's the saying? If you don't make time for your wellness, you make time for your illness, right? So like
Yep,
what do you say? Because there are a lot of mothers that, don't have time, and I'm gonna
right.
air quote, don't have time. What would you say to them?
I was thinking about this the other day. I think that two biggest reasons that women give me that they aren't exercising is time and money.
Hmm.
And so if you really think about, I think about my mother and how much time she has spent in the hospital and how much money has been spent on medical
Like,
bills.
right,
Like it's time and money either way. But
right.
honestly, you don't need, especially for a mom. I think a lot of moms have told me if they don't have an hour to go to the gym, they're not doing it. That that mentality needs to shift because you know what? Your kids are active. Do
Right.
something with your kids. They want to go to I think kids are struggling as well because they're not getting enough time outside. I
Well,
don't care
because
if
they
it's
spend all their time on their phones or tablets or in front of a TV or yeah.
everyone needs less time in front of their screen. So make it a family thing. But for me, I made it a habit when the kids were young. I got up before anyone else in the house was up. And you and I come from the day when you put in a VHS cassette, and
Yeah.
what I did. And honestly, that's all I did. I got
Right.
up, I put in a video, and then, as the years went on and I started teaching myself, they had daycare at the gym I was going to, but I didn't pay for anything because I was teaching there.
Right.
So there are things you can do at home. You don't need a gym to stay active. And I think it's really important for us to find more ways to be active as a family as well,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
women need that time for themselves, for their mental health. You show up as a better mom if you take that time.
I'm gonna put a plug for this thing that I bought a week ago and it has changed my life. It's called a brick and it locks your phone.
Oh my God, really?
I can't even tell you because we're talking about screen time and I'm like, I bought this, maybe it's 2 weeks. Little over 2 weeks. Um, I used to put timers on my apps, but I overrode them.
Right.
Now I have to actually walk over to this device, tap my phone on it to unlock it. So there is
Really?
a choice. And if it's in another room, like last night, I was on my phone and I was watching TV and I kept picking up the phone and putting it down because I didn't want to get up and go into the other room. But how many times I picked it up, because that's the habit. And
Right.
I limit, like the things that I shut off is all social media and games. But any forms of communication is on there. So I would check my email, but I could go down a rabbit hole on social media or pick up my game. And last night I never got up to go and check it. So I don't know. I think yesterday it was like 18 hours of, no, that doesn't mean I'm not on my computer and scroll, but I scroll a lot less on my computer than I do that. I will tell you, I'm like an advocate for this thing. Brick, it's a brick. They
Can
were
you
like
get a
six,
family brick?
huh?
Can you get a family size
It's
brick? So
you it's more than one person can use it, is my understanding. I haven't got my
really?
husband onto it yet, but I'm like, look it, I didn't use my phone today. But it was like $60 and I think I have like a code that you can even get a discount on. So
Yeah.
that's my TED Talk for the day because I love that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that technology is really contributing to
Oh, 100%.
mental
One
illness going on right now.
100%. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about grief because I think in one of our first conversations that we had, Danielle and I have known each other for like a year and a half, and we talked about grief and how we had so much grief in our history and there were a lot of similarities. And I'm curious, like, how does that all play in with how we show up physically? Because I myself am noticing I'm having more. My mom died in 91. She was 48 years old, and I have had more things show up since I turned 60 last year than I did younger, right? Like, because there's so much more that's showing up for me around, oh, wow, she never got to be 60. As much as I'm kicking and screaming being 60, like, there's this, wow, like, there's still this milestone that she just never got to. So it brought up a lot more stuff over the last couple of years. So I'm curious, like, how does grief play into all of this?
I feel like s- most people don't even recognize that they're holding on to that grief.
Mm,
It may take years. I think when I was going through my yoga training, um, we had to do a project, and every single one of us started crying and like crying like I've never cried before in my life. When I tell you I couldn't even get through it because I was sobbing,
wow.
sobbing and
Yeah.
blubbering. And I realized that that was years and years of holding all that stuff in. My body was finally just letting it all out. And you, I feel like yoga has really helped me do that,
Mm.
process the emotion and kind of move it through my body. And I think more people need to be comfortable letting their emotions out because the more you hold on to it, that's what causes all the dysfunction in our bodies, you
All
know?
the dis-ease. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
had last month I was at an event and I was having a conversation with a woman and she was talking about how this situation happened and it triggered something about something that had happened years ago and I had this all my own OMG aha moment when my dad died. It'll be 7 years this summer. And we were driving to the hospital, and my husband was driving, and one of my sisters was in the back seat. And I started to have like a panic attack. And I don't have panic attacks. And they were like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "Ah, I don't know. I don't know." But I was really clear on it had nothing to do with driving in that moment to my dad. And what I realized was 15 years prior to that, my niece was stillborn and I was having a flashback. My body was responding to the same situation, getting a call late at night, middle of the night, early morning that somebody had died, something was wrong, and I'm in a car driving. And I looked at
Mhm.
my sister and I went, "Oh my God, this isn't about dad. This is about Dakota." Because the minute I drove into Boston, I was with my sister. She delivered the baby. And then it was caretaking mode, right? Like being there for her. So I never not that I didn't get to mourn, but my mourning came second, right? I got to cry in the shower. I got to, like have my little moments before I was with my sister. But it was so amazing to me, and I forgot about that because, again, with my dad, we got to the hospital and like came through the panic attack quickly once I realized what was happening, and then went into planning mode. And last month, when I was reminded of this, right, I do nervous system work, and I was like, my nervous system had a response to this is a similar experience. Like, what's happening? And that's now my work to heal, right? But I was like fascinated at how much your body really does
Right? Your
remember.
body remembers that, right?
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
something triggers that and it sets off a response all over again.
Yeah. It's like, our bodies are, one of the things I've learned about myself too is my intuition is a knowing, it's a feeling. And for so many years, I lived from my neck up. I didn't even know I had a body. I mean, I used to weigh 300 pounds, right? Like, I didn't even know I had a body, right? I just was filling it. And in the last few years, as I've really embraced my intuition more, and I get goosebumps when something is right. So the other thing too in my body is it's like, pay attention to us. Hello, we have information, right? And I just wasn't paying attention because I was so busy doing everything else that my body had to like really yell at me to get my attention.
Yep.
And yeah, because it really is like, hey, we have a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and we want to tell you something, and we need you to pay attention.
Right. And the thing is, all that busyness, it keeps your mind going. And when your mind is going, you're not paying attention to your body. And
Yes,
we all have that gut instinct. And when we're constantly pushing that down and ignoring it, that's when we end up with, like, I had stomach issues for years. Why? Because I'd get that gut feeling like something isn't right. And I would just push it aside, like, no, no, no. And I would talk myself out of it, like,
right.
you know, and then once I started taking the time to quiet down and actually listen, shut my brain off and listen to my body, I'd be like, that does not feel right to me. And I honor that now,
Yeah.
and that makes a big difference. Big
What
difference.
what do you think some signs are that women ignore and when their body is actually asking them for support? Like, how would a woman even know? Because the women who are in that busyness aren't slowing down enough to actually even pay attention. So, what are some things that they can actually look for that maybe will make them stop and go, huh, I should pay attention?
I think they need to really just, it's important to take some quiet time, like get off the hamster wheel and take
Yeah,
some quiet moments either in the morning or before you go to bed and really pay attention. If you're not feeling well, if you're getting headaches all the time, there's something going on. Those are all signals that you need to
right.
pay attention. And usually you get those little signals.
And we
And then when
ignore them, so then they become bigger.
right, when you don't ignore those little signals, your body's not feeling well, or you're constantly, certain things you eat aren't making you not feel well. I feel like when you ignore those things, something big is going to happen to get your attention,
Right,
and if it's important to really take the time to learn from those things. They're not, I don't believe that things happen to you for no reason. I
right.
believe there's a lesson in everything, and you can either learn from the lesson, or you can repeat it again and
And
again
I
and again.
think and I think when you're in it, you can't actually
Yes,
see it
yes,
until you're on the other side of it. I just had this conversation with a client today, and I was like, when you're in it, you can't try to see what the lesson is or the golden shimmer, right? Like you'll see it after, but when you're in it, just be in it.
yeah.
I had a conversation with a young mom years ago, and I said to her, you have to put the oxygen mask on you first before you put it on your kids. And she said, that actually pisses me off when people say that. And I was like, yeah, but if you're dead, you can't actually take care of your
Right,
kids.
right,
Right. And I think that that is the mindset for so many. I mean, I'm not a mom, but I have a lot of clients that are moms and I witness it. Right. But I do think that that is the mindset of so many moms, right? How do you think we shift that and help young moms? Because there's so much that comes, like there's so much fear of like keeping your kid alive and making sure they're safe and right. So you are putting them first, but really it is you first and then everyone else.
right. I think we need to stop making moms feel selfish about taking a little time for themselves because honestly, I mean, you know my background. My dad took his own life. My mother was very young. She was in her 30s. My brother and I were 5 and 3.
Mm,
She didn't heal her. She didn't take the time to heal herself. She
right.
just went on
She was in
autopilot.
survival.
Right. She was
Yeah.
trying to survive the situation. But had she taken some time to grieve and heal, I think she would have shown up even better in a better way for us,
Right.
mentally healed and spiritually healed. And it's taken her a long time to get to that point. And it even took taking the time to say to her, Mom, like, this isn't about the weight. This is about like the weight of what you're carrying. Like, people don't, I think people discount how much their feelings are truly weighing on them. And they focus on, everything's about their diet and exercise. What am I eating? But really, if you're not dealing with the things that are really eating at you,
I
you'll
weighed
never.
300 pounds. I was never hungry a day in my life. I still don't know that I ever get hungry.
Right. And
Yeah.
did you have any issues with your weight before your mom passed? Or
Oh
did
yeah,
that
my
all
whole life. My whole,
your
but I will tell you, so I assume I weighed 300 pounds. I don't actually know. Prior, when she was sick, my mom was only sick for 6 months. It's
yeah,
amazing. You said your aunt was 7 years. My mom was 6 months.
no, seven,
My 7 weeks,
seven.
I'm sorry. Yes. My brother-in-law is 7 years, and my mother-in-law was probably 6 or 7 years. So like there's so much um, that has we've come so far with medical when it comes to lung cancer and what have you. But I had lost about 50 pounds through a program that I was going to, and I was seeing somebody one on one. And I remember saying to the woman, and you got to like when you got to the halfway point, you went on, it was that like they gave you food. So you went like half food, half real food. And I was, I don't know, 5 pounds away from my halfway point. And I remember saying to the woman, I'm really struggling. My mom is sick. She's dying. I don't even know if I knew she was dying. I mean, I think intuitively, but I don't think we talked about that, right? I said, my mom is sick and I'm really struggling. And the woman looked at me and said, but is losing weight still really important to you? And I don't know that I ever went back after that.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Right? And then I started gaining the weight, and then she died, and I blew up. Like I knew I gained the 50 back, and then I knew I gained more. So that's why I always assume it was around 300. But I remember, and even the last year or so, I've been in a program where I've like my I've lost weight, but there's still that emotional piece that I still have to work through. And I'm doing my own work of like, why do you self-sabotage? And oh, because that feels natural and safe and normal. And I'm like, okay, let's not make that normal, right? But so many people lose weight. And I won't go down my TED talk and my on GLP-1s and surgeries and everything because and I don't think that they aren't a tool, but they can't be the only tool.
Right.
And I have seen people use it as the only tool. And again, for me, like I don't know that I've ever been hungry a day in my life, and I still eat more than I should some days, right? Because there's other things going on, and it's those other things that I need to work on. So when somebody comes to you and they want to work with you, how do you even begin working with them? Because it isn't about food, it isn't about exercise, it's about so much more.
Right. And I feel like people forget that all these emotions show up in your body and you're trying to suppress them. And everyone has a different way of doing that.
Yeah.
And for some, it's drugs. For some, it's alcohol. For some, it's shopping. For some, it's busyness. For some, it's food. It's just a different way of dealing with the root cause, like the underlying issue. So if you're not talking about, relationships and your upbringing and, the relationships you have now, maybe the relationships you're in now are causing you stress. I mean, the self-sabotage can come in so many different forms. You were sabotaging yourself with food. I was sabotaging relationships. So
Yeah.
it's just a different way of sabotaging your life,
Right. Right.
So I think it's really important to talk about, you know, what things are going on, what things you're holding on to, how you can move through those things one step at a time, you know? And I think it was when my aunt passed that I remember when she was in recovery, my mom having the serenity prayer on our fridge. And that
Yeah.
was like the first thing I thought of is what things can I, help me accept the things I can't change. Give me the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. And I feel like it's really important to apply that to everything in life.
Right.
You know, what changes can you make? One small change can you make from today to tomorrow that will help get you to, where your goal is. But I feel like if you're not dealing with the root issue, that underlying issue, and no GLP-1 is going to help you. And
Right.
honestly, is my biggest pet peeve to see athletes endorsing GLP-1s right now. That
Yeah, and that's a whole other, yeah. I've been noticing that more and more, and I'm like, what's happening? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm not saying that I like years ago before it was a thing, because I was really struggling menopause, the whole thing. And honestly, they didn't work for me. I was on it for a short period of time, but it didn't really work for me. But now where I see everyone is on it. I had a conversation with somebody recently and they said it was a couple and they said, I'm not hungry. And I'm like, well, that's great, but where are you getting nutrients from? And one of them looked at me and said, I drink a lot of water. And I was like, oh, for the love of God, water is not nutrient, right? But I
yep,
had a conversation with a friend of mine last week, and he's using an app that is helping him with food. He said, and his doctor put him on the GLP-1 because he had some other health stuff and this. He's like, but
right,
I would never just take the shot without doing. I was like, that's a tool.
right,
He's not looking to do it for a lifetime because he's learning to teach himself how to eat, and the tool is just helping him in the process.
right.
When I
Yes,
lost all my weight, I worked with a woman who took fen-phen, which this was 30 years ago. Fen-phen was the drug that was killing people. And
right,
her and I would go out to lunch and I would order a salad and she would order chicken fingers but only have one. And I would say to her, but you're not changing behaviors. When you stop taking the pill, you're gonna still be ordering the chicken fingers. I'm still ordering a salad.
right,
Right? Like it's behaviors and choice. Like, would I rather eat the chicken fingers? Yes. And I'd rather have my glass of wine, so I'm going to order the salad so I can have my glass of wine and you can have the chicken, right? Like it's making choices.
right. And making the shift from weight. This is a big thing. Making that shift from the importance of losing weight. That shouldn't be what's important. The importance should be
Being
maintaining good health,
health,
and longevity. Like for me,
right?
I have grandkids. I want to be around to see them for many years to come. It's important for me to fuel my body in a way that's going to make me live longer. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's important to me. I don't know. I just feel like so many people forget that there are so many side effects to these drugs.
That we
So
don't
you're
know because it's so new. Yeah.
right. And you're taking one drug and then you're having all these side effects, and then they just give you another drug.
Trying to counteract
Then it
it.
gives you more side effects, and then you're taking another drug. That happened to my mom. She was
Yeah.
on so many medications. And then when she started doing the research herself, she realized this was causing this. And then they were giving her this for this, which was causing this. And I'm like, it's a vicious cycle. So I think you really just need to educate yourself and before you take anything, you
Right.
know?
No, I don't disagree with that. Um, I know you talk a lot about movement and it can be a form of healing. But sometimes it can feel like it's another thing on your to-do list. Like I will tell you right now, because I'm in PT multiple times a week and I have other appointments, right? Like I'm doing what I can, but it does feel like it's one more thing I have to do. What are some things that you help your clients with to really make it so it doesn't feel burdensome or one more thing you have to do?
I think you have to find things that you truly enjoy doing. Like
Mm,
everyone needs to get out of the and I hate to say this, strength training is important. I'm
yeah.
not discounting that. I'm a firm believer that you have to do strength training as you get older, but there needs to be joy in your movement for you to continue to do it. I don't care if you turn, I tell my kids this all the time. We used to do this when they were young. we would just crank up the music and dance. I do it with my grandkids now,
Yeah.
and they think it's a party. Like, okay, put some music on and let's dance. You can be dancing for 10 minutes and that's great exercise. And guess what? You're lifting up your, feelings of
Oh,
joy and happiness. And that's really important. So I think people need to stop feeling like they need to make exercise a job. Like find the things. And I think even thinking back to what you did when you were a kid, what, because I know I it took me some time to think like, okay, I don't do those things anymore. Why not? Why don't
right.
I dance anymore? Why don't, you know,
I did
why
that
don't
last week. I put on my music and I danced around my office. I was about to teach a workshop and I was like, all right, let's get your energy up. And it
I,
does,
right.
it feels really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Especially as you're getting older, if you're having issues with your hips, take 10 minutes to dance in the morning, move
Yeah.
your hips,
Yeah.
go outside with your kids and hula hoop for a while. I mean, jump rope, go skating, take a walk, try to find things that you actually enjoy doing because you're more likely to do them, you know?
What are some daily habits that can actually start to make a big difference for women?
I think really, I am a firm believer in getting things done first thing in the morning. Like honestly, taking that time. I I don't believe an extra hour of sleep is going to make you feel any better
I think
throughout your day.
sometimes it makes you feel worse.
Right, right. Honestly, take that hour before the kids get up and just carve out that 1 hour of quiet time, whether you want to read, meditate, move around a little bit, go for a walk, do some yoga. I feel like that being intentional about your mornings sets you up for a much better day, you
Yeah.
know? And the thing is, as a mom, if you tell yourself you're going to the gym after work, it's not going to happen. Let's be real. Someone needs a ride, someone needs to be picked up, they have a game, they have practice, whatever. It's that's never going to happen. That's the reality, you know? So if you get up an hour before they do and get it done, then you don't have to think about it the rest of the day. It's done.
I always like working out in the morning. I used to, when I worked outside of the house, I would go to the gym before I went to the office. I
Yeah.
worked like almost an hour away, my last job, and I left early so I would miss the traffic. And it made a difference. And then COVID happened and you get out of the routine. So it's hard to get back into the routine because I mean, I have a little gym in my house, but there's a part of me, I actually like strength training. I would rather do strength training all day long over cardio any day of the week. And I'm trying to figure out like, how do I get that back into my routine, right? Because I don't leave my house.
Right.
So, what would you say to women who are even just trying to create that don't have a routine or have gotten out of the routine? What's one little thing that they can do to start getting back into any type of routine to help themselves?
I think just consistently getting up and doing something every single day. Like I I don't I don't feel like you have to leave your house.
To
And
do. Yeah.
if you don't have the money for equipment to build a home gym, you don't need that. Go on Marketplace. People are getting rid of weights all the time.
Right.
Just simple dumbbells. You can, progressive overload is just working the muscle to failure. So whether you're doing 50 reps of something or you're adding weight to it and doing fewer reps with more weight, it's the same. You want to fatigue the muscle in order to build strength. So, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, you know.
Why do you think we think it does?
I think I remember having this conversation with a young mom and she really just believed that if she could not dedicate an hour in the gym, then it wasn't worth doing. And I said, what if you just, got a 10-minute walk in the morning and then, like even simple things, jumping, like I think we need to really scale it back and go back to basics. I mean, remember in gym class doing some, jumping jacks,
Right.
push-ups, sit-ups, just the basic stuff
Yeah.
is really important and it keeps you mobile throughout your life. So, just I think it's the consistency over time more than anything. I have so many conversations with people that tell me, oh, I haven't been that weight since I was in high school. And I think to myself, well, I guess I should give myself a little credit because I have maintained that
Right.
over my entire life, even through kids. And yes, everyone's weight fluctuates here and there,
Sure.
but because I've consistently gotten up and gotten some movement in, yes, you have to give yourself grace. There are going to be times when your workouts are going to be, you have the time and the to put in the time and energy into an intense workout. And there are other times where you're barely surviving. Like when your kids are young, you're barely getting through the day. So
Right.
give yourself some grace and just get anything in that you can. And even if
Right.
it's 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes there, it's still movement. Like I think women need to stop discounting that.
Yeah. Well, and also, you can walk and not break a sweat. And I think there's this like, you have to break a sweat. It has to hurt. You have to be in pain, right? Your muscles have to ache, right? Like
I
there's so many stories we have around it.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be true. Like for me, like walking, like I have a loop. Every once in a while, I'll go a little past the loop and then I'm like, yep, I think that's enough right now. And I haven't gone to like my other loop, right? Because I'm like,
right,
my body's still in a healing mode
right,
and I'm honoring it. And still, some days it's still pushing myself to go do the walk. Yeah.
right. And you have to, of course, you want to push yourself a little bit, but we're not here to punish ourselves. Like
Right.
I think that's the thing. Movement, we have to start finding a way to connect movement and joy
I
instead
was
of
just gonna
like
say there needs to be
punishment.
the connection. All right, I like that. Movement and joy. Like what is it that is the connection? Because we think of it as work. And if it's
Right.
work, it does become one more thing we have to do.
And but think about when you were a kid. You couldn't wait to get outside. You couldn't
Right.
wait to ride your bike, go roller skating, go, swimming, whatever you loved to do as a kid. Like, why is it that we all of a sudden become adults and think, oh, I can't do that anymore?
Well,
Like,
I'm curious because kids today aren't doing that like we
oh,
used to. So do you think that's part of it, that there's just this evolution of nobody is playing out in this, out in the neighborhood and running around and coming home when the lights go on, right? They're on their tablets sitting on their couch. So like the parents are doing the same thing. So do you think that there is this evolution of we are just becoming less active because we've got our phones, right? Like, is that what's really happening?
yeah, it makes me sad. I mean, the way we grew up was great in the
Yeah,
80s and 90s. I mean, we were always outside, always playing. And something needs to shift because even as an educator, I saw kids going home, and my own children, they're in school 8 hours a day and then they're coming home and doing hours of homework. Like, let's stop with that. They're
right.
not learning anything more after those 8 hours. They are so checked out. Let them have the time to go outside and ride their bike, go for a walk, whatever, play with their friends. I feel like technology is just going to be the death of our
Oh,
society.
it
And some,
100% is. Yeah.
know, I know
Um,
it's important and it's helped us evolve,
sure.
but there needs to be balance, and
Yeah.
there isn't
I
right
saw somebody recently post that she changed, I think, preschools for her kid. And the one that he's in is like they do outdoors. And like the kid comes home from school and he's like muddy and sweaty or something like that, right? Like,
now.
why? Yeah. Like, right? Like, that's just
So great.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, How do mindset, spirituality practices help support physical well-being? Because, all right, I can do all the things. I can eat the lettuce and I can do my movement every day. But if my mindset and my spiritual practice, whatever that is for you, isn't in alignment, is anything really changing?
No, I think that's probably the key to everything is just and everyone has their own beliefs. I have a very strong belief in God, and I believe that God wants us all to act in as our higher selves. So
Hmm.
God wants the best for everyone. And that's the thing. We talk about exercise as suffering. Like we're not here on earth to suffer. Like I
Right.
think we have to get out of that mindset that like because we're suffering that's a good thing. Like it's not. It's really
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to live a joyful, quiet life and
And it can feel like suffering when you're in it. Like if you're in a hard time or something's
Right.
going on, but you can also often look back and go, oh, okay, that had to happen for me to be here,
Hmm.
right?
I think that was the thing that yoga really taught me was being okay with sitting in the discomfort. Most
Hmm.
people don't want to sit in the discomfort. They want to run. They want, and I was guilty of that. When my kids were young, something bad would happen and I would want to fix it. And I made more mistakes by trying to fix it
You're
rather
fine,
than
you're fine. Don't cry, don't cry, because you're uncomfortable. I
right,
mean, I'm fast. I mean, I don't have children, and I'm fascinated when I go out and kids are loud or crying in a restaurant, and the parents are like, shh, shh. I'm like, who's he bothering? Like, he's not
right,
bothering me, and I don't even have kids, right?
right.
You know, you talked about discomfort. I had a conversation earlier today about living outside your comfort zone.
Hmm.
And often we think, jumping out of a plane, talking in front of a crowd of 100. And I shared a perspective of like, for me, living outside of my comfort zone was getting quiet.
Right.
And the woman I was talking to was like, oh, like mind blown, right? Because she's like, you don't think about that. I was like, oh, that's really hard for women. I'm
Hmm.
teaching a class right now. And last week I had the women, I think it was a minute or two, just sit and quiet. And some of them really had a hard time with that. Like that
Yes.
can be that can be the discomfort that you have to work through and just
Yep.
sitting in quiet. Like I have clients where I'm like 5 minutes a day. I'm just asking you to sit. And that is a challenge for them.
Right.
Right. So it is like recognizing that, and because that's being disconnected to yourself, right? I
Right.
want to be outside of this. I don't want to feel whatever's happening here.
Right. And I think the more you get to know yourself and the happier you are with yourself, the easier it is for you to sit in that silence,
And
you
I will
know?
say it's still hard for me, but I make myself still do it more so when it's hard. I
Right.
remember a couple of years ago, I was supposed to go to an event and I canceled it at the last minute. So I had 3 days with nothing scheduled on um, my calendar, and I got up in the morning and I went into my little, we call it the serenity room. We have these nice little chairs and books and what have you, and I was reading, and I all of a sudden got this urge and this like uncomfortableness of, oh, I have to go do something. And I caught myself where in the past I wouldn't have caught myself. I would have just gotten up and come into the office and started doing whatever. And I went, wait a minute, you're not even supposed to be home. So like what is there for you to do?
Right.
And I tapped, I'm an EFT practitioner, so I did a few rounds of tapping. And what came up for me was if I'm not doing, I'm not worthy. I
Hmm.
was like, ah, shit. Right. I was like, all right. So I sat longer and continued to read until it didn't feel uncomfortable anymore. Because most people don't die from feeling uncomfortable. We just
Right.
have to be willing to sit in the discomfort. And so often we're not. And that's why we go for food, we get busy, we eat, we do drugs, we drink, whatever it is to avoid that feeling.
Hmm.
When if we could just sit with it, we would be okay on the other side of it.
Right. That busyness is just masking what's
Right,
going on underneath.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And
Oh
you
my
know
God,
what's
I could
funny?
keep talking to you. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I was just thinking about I'm part of this Rosary Club that on Mondays, and it's one of the women that's in our women's business league that does it. And there was actually a book about praying the rosary. And, you know, in Rosary Club, you don't have to be Catholic, whatever. And it talks about praying the rosary was kind of meant to be a meditation.
Yeah.
And you don't realize you're holding the beads and you're saying the Hail Mary, Our Father, whatever. But those are all done in a cadence so that it's like deep breath
Good.
in, deep
Yeah.
breath out, deep breath in, deep breath out. And people don't realize just small little things like that
Right.
are so soothing, you know?
To just,
So I think it's just finding little things that can help
yeah.
soothe whatever is going on, and just talking about it makes a huge difference, I
I love
think.
that.
Mm.
So I love to ask this question to all of my guests. What is something you live by that you want to share with our listeners?
Oh, so many things, but I really believe a healthy bodies and healthy minds are so connected. Like you
Mm,
need a healthy body to have a healthy mind. You need a healthy mind to have a healthy body, and both are important. It's
yeah.
not separate. It's together.
And I think it's important to say, for me anyways, like I don't think this is like a you have to like eat lettuce 100% of the time. Like you can have the chicken finger, but
Yeah,
it's the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule, right? This isn't an all or nothing, just like exercise. It's just
right,
it's finding the balance,
right. And I
right?
think when you find things you like to eat that are healthy, it's so much easier to eat them.
Oh,
You
100%.
don't have to
Yeah.
eat a salad with nothing on it and it's,
Right.
plain and awful tasting. I mean,
Because then you're gonna not want to do it and you're gonna, yeah.
you have to
Th-
find healthy options of things that you really enjoy eating, and then it
Right.
never feels like you know, it shouldn't feel like you're taking something away. It should feel good.
It shouldn't feel like deprivation, right?
Right.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, like I do with all the endings of my podcast, I pull three cards from the Busy to Being card deck. If anyone's interested, they're available on my website. Use the code BEING to get $11 off. And I have three cards in front of me. So I have left, center, and right. And I'm going to invite you to choose one, Danielle, and then everyone listening also choose one.
I'm going to choose left.
Left. Trust is the gateway. And then on the back, it says, if you don't trust what you don't know, you limit what's possible. I love that. And,
Amen.
and if you chose center, reflect. Take a moment. What truth is ready to reveal itself to you? I'm always floored by how relevant these are. And this one here, I love on the right one is change happens through conscious choice. And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? Real change comes from choice, not fear. Ask yourself, is this a fear-based decision or a conscious choice? Because I think what ends up happening is when we become sick, then we're like changing everything, right? So that's fear-based because we're like, oh my God, I don't want to die, right? Where conscious choice is like, I want to live a healthy life.
Right. And what do I need to do
And
to
what do
do
I
that?
need to do that?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. This was such a great conversation.
Thanks for
Just a reminder, Danielle and I will be partnering together at Presence& and Co. in Reading, Massachusetts. It's a 5-week program. It starts June 16th, and it is yoga through the chakras, align your body, energy, and action. And I will put that will all be in the show notes, as will all of Danielle's contact information. Do you want to just tell people, Danielle, how they can find you?
You can find me at theedgeupcoaching.com. And you can, if you want to set up an appointment to speak to me one-on-one, you can schedule it right there.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. This conversation, I feel like we could have talked forever. This
Yeah,
conversation was great. Thank you so much.
thank you. Have a good one.